All right, I want you to take just a minute here to watch this short 2-minute clip of Elon Musk talking to folks from an Italian audience.
Oh, yeah, don't worry about the cows. The cows are fine. Cows are not going to destroy the environment. Cows are fine, yes.
We have a lot of laws, European laws against all the people who work with them. It's a big issue for us because it seems a green issue, but it's a very industrial issue for us.
Yeah, I think farming and cows do not have any meaningful effect on the environment.
Yes, underline, please.
Yes, objectively, this is true. If you say there's really only one thing that matters from an environmental standpoint for carbon, which is that we are taking billions, eventually trillions of tons of carbon from buried deep under the earth and transferring it to the atmosphere and oceans. That's actually really all that matters, is taking vast amounts of carbon from underground where it's buried and moving it into the atmosphere by burning it. And if you do that for long enough, eventually you will get climate change. Now, I think the climate change alarm is somewhat overblown in the short term. It's still a concern in the long term, but I think it's exaggerated in the short term.
Great.
Now, I'm trying to thread the needle here between what is pragmatic and what is sensible, what really matters and what doesn't matter. What really matters is that over the long term, over the course of the next several decades, that we gradually reduce how many millions and billions of tons of carbon that we move from underground to the atmosphere, because we're running sort of a climate experiment that is dangerous. But I also don't think that I think of it as a fundamental civilizational risk. It's not going to destroy life on Earth. It's not going to destroy humanity, but it will create hardship if you change the climate over many decades. So I think my message is I think much more pragmatic and I think correct and sensible. And I don't think we should demonize oil and gas. I think we should say, look, that is obviously necessary in the short term and the medium term too, and it'll take several decades to become sustainable. So I think if we just, without getting too worried about it, seek to have a sustainable energy future gradually, then that's what will happen. And so, but I think that some of the environmentalist movement is part of what is causing people to lose hope in the future. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that we should have hope in the future. We should be excited about the future, and we should build the future we want.
Okay, now, depending upon what your opinion on Elon Musk is, some people think he is doing great things. He's defending freedom of speech on the platform X. He's pushing back against some of the sort of craziness. Or you think he's controlled opposition and he's secretly part of the Illuminati. It really doesn't matter. I mean, I think the opinion that he puts forth in this particular interview was quite insightful and pragmatic in my view. We talk about the fact that, when it comes to the environment, cows are actually part of the environment. They have been, in one form or another for as long as there's been, for a very, very, very long time. I'll just put it that way. Hundreds of millions of years, likely, we've had ruminant animals roaming, or close to that, rather. And, the fact that he sees that, despite the fact that he would, benefit financially, or his company Tesla would benefit from a more aggressive climate policy, or at least one can make that argument, he still sees that, hey, look, we don't need to throw the baby out with the bathwater. There are, the things that have allowed us as a civilization to progress are some of these things we're now thinking we're going to get rid of, in one fell swoop. I mean, you think about what fossil fuels have allowed us to do. They've literally brought in billions of people out of otherwise poverty, brought them out of the Middle Ages into a more modern time. I mean, there's a lot of good that has come with this stuff. Now, everything comes with a cost, and I would look at, when I'm out in out in nature, out in society, and I see trash everywhere. That's very disappointing, right? And so there are things we can do to improve our surroundings. I think we should. I mean, certainly we should clean up the garbage, stop producing so much garbage, those types of things. And, obviously humans, in order for us to flourish, have got to be able to protect ourselves from the environment in a way. And it's, you read the work of guys like Alex Epstein in Fossil Future. Some of these things have a very interesting perspective in that, we have actually seen a dramatic reduction in the number of people whose lives have been lost due to climate-related disasters. You know, we have earthquake-proof buildings. We have the ability to deal with major fires. We have air conditioning and heating. Just simple as that. Simple dealing with it. People don't freeze to death as much as they used to. Remember, people freeze to death at a much higher rate than they suffer from too much heat. Right. So all these things are important here, but you know, again, the biggest point I think he makes at the beginning is cows are not the problem, right? And in fact, in my view, I think we need more cows. We need more cows on Earth to feed people a higher quality of nutrition. I mean, it's one of the most it is the most nutrient-dense, bioavailable food on the planet. That is, you know, meat, particularly, and large ruminant meat, certainly qualifies for that. So anyway, let me know what your thoughts on Elon Musk in general, and what do you think about this particular statement that he gave there to the Italian audience? Do you think that makes sense to you, or do you think we should just get rid of cows and get rid of fossil fuels in one fell swoop, or do you think it's all BS and we need to not do anything? All right. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.